But right now, we are going to kind of shift gears a little bit, and I've got Tony Rubo here from Briggs Auto, and we're going to talk about the car business. A lot of people are discovering, they may not have known this up until now, that there have been some definite pandemic issues with regard to the car business as a whole, and I wanted to get people kind of up to date on what some of the consequences to the various things that have happened over the last year. But first, Tony, why don't you let folks know who you are and where your kind of area of expertise is?
Good morning. I'm Tony Rubo. I'm the general sales manager with Briggs Subaru of Topeka, and I'm excited to be here. Mr. Briggs talked about in a meeting we were having, he thought that it would be a good idea for the public to have some access to some car information, whether it be what's going on with chips or pricing or leasing or just information. And I've had the pleasure to sit here this morning and start that process today.
Well, yeah, that was the idea. And, like I said, so this is not, my alternator is acting up. No. This is more along the lines, because a lot of people, obviously during the pandemic, people still need cars. They for a little while, during that 2 weeks to slow the spread, which has lasted 14 months now, a lot of people didn't go into work, and so there was a little less driving that went on. But over the course of time, again, you're still going to have problems. People are going to, and in some people's cases, they just like to have new cars every couple of years or whatever it is. And some people are being surprised when they go out to dealerships and find that there aren't new cars available.
No. I mean, normally I'll have a 30, 40 new cars available, different colors for you to select from. Today I have 6.
So only 6 Subarus on the lot that are, would this be, would they be 2021 models?
Yep, they're 2021 models. Now, keep in mind, we do have a small supply of cars that are going to be coming in, but not in the quantities that the consumer's used to.
So this is not just a situation of, they decided to close the Fairfax plant, and so they're not building any cars. They would be, the various, whether it's Subaru or other car dealers, they would be perfectly happy to build cars for people. You mentioned the chips, that we've got shortages that are just not allowing these cars to get built.
That's correct. A lot of people ask that question. Well, why don't anybody have cars? I mean, if you just drive across the car lot, no matter the brand, they don't have a lot of cars. It's the microchips. The microchips, of course, we go back to the pandemic. In the pandemic, those chips go into your phone. They go into your laptop at home. So these are
processing chips of one type or another.
You're correct, yeah. Whether it runs the entertainment system in the car or it runs the safety part of the car. The cars are electronic like never before. So this has pretty much put a halt on that until we can catch up.
It is amazing that, I forget who it was. Somebody at one point described their car as a $7,000 stereo with a motor attached to it because, you go back to the, say, 60s, 70s, you didn't need chips and, stuff like that. It was not electronically controlled. They're, carbureted engines and so on and so forth. Now, you need a computer science degree before you can actually work on a car anymore.
You do, yeah. It's funny you say that because one of the mechanics I was talking to, he said, gosh, Tony, I worked on engines and I worked on transmissions. We don't have issues with engines and transmissions. It's these computers that you got to know computers, not just be able to fix an engine to be a qualified mechanic today.
Yeah, it really is. And so you mentioned that these chips that are just in short supply, and they're not, specifically car chips. They're just chips, processing chips that get used in all sorts of different things. And for whatever reason, cars seem to be at the low end of the totem pole here.
Well, you have to think about the massive amount of cars that they have to build with all the manufacturers. So, that's the problem. Now, you can still order a car like we used to back in the day, wait for it to come in. That's still pretty exciting.
I'm still waiting to do that once in my life. I've only bought one new car in my entire life. It's always been used ones in the past. But yeah, that idea of actually going into a dealer and checking off the boxes, I want this, and this color and this whatever, that's something that very few people really get to do.
We do about one a month now, but we're going to see more of that probably. But the flip side of this is the used car market's really good. So there's lots of used cars to get bought.
Well, yeah, and like that was going to ask about that because, if the inventory on new cars are low, then I would imagine that in particular new car dealers like you, I'm sure you guys have a used car department, that you are snapping up as many used cars as you can to maintain a business.
Yes, we are. I mean, we have salespeople calling out of Facebook Marketplace to people that they have cars now that they don't realize that car that they have right now is probably worth anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 more than it was, say, 60 days ago. Because of the demand now, without the new, people still need cars, so the demand's going to be high in the used cars. Fortunately, I work for a company that's all in. We are acquiring cars. We're buying cars. We're going all across the country to get cars. Some dealers are afraid of the market. They're not buying cars. Fortunately, I work for an organization that says we're all in. We're going to have cars for the consumer to come and buy.
And, in your guys' case, I'm assuming that the used cars you get tend to be much later models and, and so on. So we're not talking about, buying a 10-year-old car. It's something that's going to be within the last few model years, probably still have a warranty left and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably, model 16 year and up, because I can actually do a certified warranty through Subaru on a 16 or newer Subaru. So, which comes with a 100,000 mile powertrain warranty and 7 years. So there's still some advantages from 16 and up.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this chip situation, do they have any forecast on when we might come out of it to the point where we'll see the inventory get back up to a more normal level as far as the new car market is concerned?
I think you'll start to see that come back in probably mid to late July.
Okay.
So we're looking at 60 more days.
Yeah, that's not too bad. I can kind of understand why some dealers might be hesitant to overstock with used cars then, because they may be looking ahead and saying, well, I don't want to get stuck with a whole big lot full of used cars and then have these new cars and nowhere to put them.
Right, because the values are going to shift. So now when all the new car comes in, the demand for used car goes down. Well, the values of those cars drop because there's no demand. So it's, interestingly enough, in our business, the demand and the cost of what it costs to get a car shifts daily.
I would think so. And in fact, that's one of the areas in the car business that has really gone through a change in the last, say, 10 or 15 years. For the used car area, you had, the CarMaxes or places like that came in and started doing the, no haggle type pricing on stuff. And there's this new vending machine company that, is trying to do everything online. The more traditional groups like yours, you have to kind of adjust to the market in the best way that suits your business.
Yeah, and the consumer has to buy, when they're comfortable. I guess my personal opinion is if I bought a car out of a vending machine and there's an issue with it, where do you take it? When you buy a car from Briggs, we've got locations all across Kansas. We're one of the largest dealers. So I just had an instance where I sold a car that had an issue. And the customer lives in Fort Scott. Well, we have a dealership in Fort Scott. I was able to get them right in, get the issue taken care of. So I think that's a big difference that, the customer doesn't look at is, well, if I buy it out of the vending machine, they don't look at, well, gosh, what am I going to take it? Because the vending machine ain't going to fix it.
I mean, don't they have a little sticker on the vending machine that has a number for you to call?
Negative.
Isn't that how you do it when you get a soda and it doesn't come out?
Right, and the line goes dead when you call, right?
Actually, I have to say, not that this has anything to do with cars, but I travel around a lot in the wintertime to do hockey games, and every once in a while I'll find myself at a rest area or somewhere that, and get myself a soda. And I did have that happen to me one time, and I actually did. It wasn't a phone number. They had a place for you to actually drop off a a slip of paper where you wrote your information down and what it, what the vending machine didn't spit out. And sure enough, like 2 months later, I actually got whatever it was. I think it was like $2.25 in cash in an envelope.
Wow.
That somebody had mailed to me. Whoever it was that ran these vending machines actually went through and made good on it. I was very impressed with them.
Wow, that's insane.
I don't think you're going to get several $1,000s in cash coming into in an envelope into your house if you buy a car out of it.
But you might have started something now.
You never know. Anyway, so all right, well let's talk a little bit about Subaru, because I know that you were talking about that. They made a commitment to cars. There's a lot of stuff that they in this during the pandemic and otherwise that they have been doing that have been more community oriented.
Yeah, I mean, when you ask people about Subaru, if you just ask the random person about Subaru, they're not really sure still. And Subaru's climbing. They're the largest automobile company, growing the fastest over the last 7 years. But they really just have a different business model. That business model has everything to do with putting back. The forest fires in California, they went back in and planted millions of trees, after the fires. Locally, of course, that's what I like, because I like to see what happens in our own community. Subaru did 15 million meals across missions across the U.S. Well, fortunately, one of those missions in Topeka was one of ours that Subaru donated to, and they allowed me to go in and match. I was able to do 1,500 meals to donate right to our local mission. So the meals, then we started with pets, and our slogan at Briggs Subaru is "We put pets in homes." So we instituted a program, and kind of really it's the pandemic's fault, because it made us think about, gosh, everybody's home. What do you need at home? You need comfort, especially a lot of people are, they don't feel as well being at home. Well, what makes you feel better than a good old kiss from your old dog, right? Mm-hmm. So we thought, hey, let's put some pets in homes. So I got together with the Humane Society, Helping Hands, and people that maybe can't quite afford the fees or can't afford them at all. I have a standing account there now where we'll pay it. I mean, if you can't afford it, we will help put a pet in your home. Whether we pay part of it, we pay all of it, we're happy to do it. The program is working unbelievably well. So we're really proud of that. It's been fun. And I was able to go back here last Saturday at Paws in the Park, and I was able to give them a check for about $17,000 as part of the program to fund these adoptions. Then we have Share the Love, which is a big Subaru event at the end of the year. We were able to raise $5,300 for Meals on Wheels. The pandemic really kind of squeezed Meals on Wheels a lot too because of COVID. I mean, there's a lot of volunteers that go out and put these meals, drive them right to their doors to people that need meals every day.
3-minute stations.
So we were able
3
to
minutes to your next Fox News.
We good? Okay. We were still able to raise $5,300 to give them a check last week. So Subaru, it's true. They are a lot more than a car company. It's really amazing to watch.
Well, that is terrific. A lot of the, I mean, obviously these things were going on before the pandemic as well, but that has really focused a lot of companies on trying to do something in the community, because actually a lot of it is just because they've had a lot of time to think about it right now.
Yeah, probably so. And I mean, just not Briggs Subaru. I mean, I always give credit to the local dealers around me because they're all doing something in the community as well. So that's, probably one of my pet peeves, I guess I can get off my chest now, is this: when you take your money out of town and buy a car out of town, you're crippling the economy. From the standpoint is we use some of those profits to put back in the community, whether it's me or Laird Noller or Lewis Toyota or whoever. The money that we earn as profits, we put back in our community. The tax dollars go out into another county when you buy a car out of town. So please try to stay local. Give us your best shot. Let us know you live in Topeka or wherever you're from, and we'll step to the plate and make it right.